Hey there, this is the second section of Know Before You Go, according to me, and we're going to talk about cabinets in this area. So this one is probably the part of your remodel that you're most excited about. You've saved thousands of pictures and you're really envisioning what you want to get out of this. And so that's really going to be very specific and personal to you and when you're working with the cabinet shop creating the design. So the goal of this video is just to give you a foundation of the decisions that you're going to need to make ultimately outside of the design. So let's get started.
First big decision you're going to have to make is whether you want to go with a custom or a semi-custom cabinet. And it's important to know up front that not all custom cabinet shops and not all semi-custom cabinet lines are created equal. I'd say a common misconception would be that the semi-custom are going to be a lesser quality and a more economical cabinet than the custom, and that's not necessarily true. But in general, with a good custom shop, the sky's the limit to the colors, the configurations, the details, anything that you can imagine, the sky's the limit. With a semi-custom line, the more economical ones are going to be a handful of door styles, a handful of paint options, a handful of stain options, but there are some high-end semi-custom lines that are going to allow you to get really specific and very similar in detail and usually price point as a custom. So bottom line, go with a reputable shop or reputable cabinet line. So 3 of the main categories on the overall styles of the cabinet are going to be a traditional overlay, a full overlay, or an inset. So with the traditional overlay in general, it's more economical, and the basic description is a smaller door and drawer front. So you see the frame of the cabinet. With a full overlay, it's larger door and drawer fronts, and it almost completely covers the cabinet frame. And an inset is the doors and drawers are actually cut into the face frame and recessed. So if you were to stand at the side, you would see that they are all set back in there. So in general, this is going to be your higher end, higher price point, higher end look going with the inset. And the full is, in general, just a happy medium between those. Next thing you're going to want to know about is the construction of the cabinet. A lot of people will have in mind that they want to go with an all plywood box. In my opinion, that's not necessarily important, but you have to decide if that's where the dollars are well spent for your peace of mind. But there's a lot of good quality constructions that will have a high density fiberboard incorporated. And in my opinion, I would put money towards undermount soft close drawer glides. Those are going to really make your cabinets feel a lot more sturdy and user friendly. So that's where I would always recommend, if it's an upgrade, going into that direction. Some cabinets are going to come standard with those. Depending on the cabinet line, you could have hundreds of options on your door styles. So I recommend going back and looking at all your inspiration photos and seeing if there's a common thread between your photos. If it's just in general that you like an all-white kitchen and a simple shaker cabinet door, that would be your answer. If you go back and look and you see, I actually really like details of raised panels with bevels, and that's just what you gravitate towards, know about that, because it's really easy to get into a cabinet showroom and just go down a rabbit hole with the amount of options on the door styles. So just kind of have a general idea of what look that you're going for. Something really simple to decide between is going to be your drawer fronts. So you've got the option for a 5-piece, which usually matches your door style. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. Or a slab drawer front, which lends itself to a little bit more of a transitional look. A lot of people will say it is a easier drawer front to maintain. I gravitate towards the 5-piece. It is purely personal preference. Next up will be deciding the details on your island and hoods if this applies to your kitchen. So you'll see in this photo there are doors on the back, because this is actually a double depth island, and so these are functioning doors, but you can also have the backs of the islands paneled out as well as the sides. You can have corbels or legs. You can have details with outlets where those are plugged in. Just things to consider with if these details are important, or if you'd rather have a more economical island because you're going to have some really nice bar stools in front. If you have any other specifics, there's lots of things that can go into islands. So they can either be really basic or really elaborate with molding. And with your vent hoods, you're going to want to decide on the style. So once again, scrolling through your inspiration photos, you're probably going to see a reoccurring theme of if you like a mantle hood or if you like a chimney vent hood. There's a lot of different styles. So just kind of have an idea in mind of what you like, and then you can kind of dig into the details of if you like it to go all the way to the ceiling, how high you like it hung, and just the overall style. So just looking back at your pictures, kind of try to pinpoint what the look of that hood is that you gravitate towards. In the cabinet hardware, it can actually be something really simple, understated, that you don't invest a whole lot of time into, but I think that it is worth thinking about it a little more. It's the detail that can just really take your cabinet design up a notch. I like a lot of times to put pulls on the drawers and knobs on the doors. That's probably the direction that I go the most. In contemporary designs, you're going to see a lot more of the pulls throughout. In some of the more basic designs, you're going to see knobs throughout. So that can really be mixed any number of ways, and you can just really show out with that direction, add some glass knobs or crystal knobs in, or any kind of statement pieces where it can just be the understated element. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. And so once you go through all of those, you're really going to be ready to visit the cabinet shop and dig into details. Before you go, I recommend going through your existing kitchen and really evaluating like what you're lacking or what you really like, and possibly you would rather have open shelves in a certain section because you're really clean and don't need a whole lot of storage. You might decide that you really want a lot of drawer stacks because the doors just aren't functioning for you. You might need more spice storage or utensil storage, things of that nature. So rather than just haphazardly going into the design, if you come armed with that information about what you really want out of the storage and the placement of things, you're going to have a real advantage to the overall design and knowing what direction that you're wanting to go.
All right, now that you're armed with a little bit of knowledge, you are ready to work on that design. Let me know how I can help.